Hey guys! So today I am going to talk about keeping a positive mindset. And for me personally, I have just been shocked as time and time again, something that I thought was extremely bad that was happening in my life has opened up new opportunities, new possibilities. There's always been this silver lining. Call it good karma, call it what you want. But there's always been this silver lining, this light at the end of the tunnel that I would have never seen, I would have never known unless I had gone through that bad experience. So let's just get into it. So I don't know if you've heard this phrase, but it's called good is the enemy of great, right? Good is the enemy of great. And I have noticed that a lot in my life, how sometimes I have hanged on to these things that I thought were good and just kept hanging on, when in actuality, if I had just let go, then I would realize that something better was on the other side. Sometimes we don't know that there's something better for us on the other side. And what is that called? It's called a scarcity mindset. It's called a fear-based mindset, where we are so afraid to lose that little shred of something good in our life that we never reach out and try to find something that's even better, something that's even greater, and so, yeah, good is the enemy of great. Sometimes you have to let go of things, whether that's people, whether that's jobs, whether that's environments, whether that's experiences. Sometimes you have to let go in order to see that something better is on the other side. And I promise you that if you do, you will see that everything was leading you to a better place. You just didn't see it in the moment. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about, because this is, a weight loss page, and I'm going to get into a little bit of, my story with weight gain, and then I'll kind of go through some different topics of how different experiences have affected me. So particularly with weight gain, when I first put on that 20 pounds from the medication, I was at a loss for myself. I was so upset and, disassociated from my body. And to me, it was such a bad thing that was happening to me that I felt like I didn't have much control over until I switched my medication. Well, once I switched my medication and I started losing the weight with diet and exercise, I fell in love with CrossFit all over again, And I had taken some time off during the pandemic, which was really hard for me, but I was trying to be healthy and just make sure I didn't catch anything being around other people. So when I did start back at CrossFit, I re-fell in love with CrossFit, the sport, and the athleticism that is Olympic lifting. And once I started going again and again and again, there was so much that was happening during that time in my life. There was a friendship that, someone had walked out of my life because I was going through some rough times. And, because of, once again, that scarcity mindset, I thought I had just lost a really good friend and that I would never find another really good friend like that. And looking back on that now, I realized that person was toxic. That person was not even someone I should have been friends with in the first place. They had a lot of issues. They had some disorders and they were unmedicated. And overall, I realized that, sometimes things happen, conflict happens with people. And in your mind, if you have, been abused in the past, or if you have trauma from childhood in the past, if you've experienced emotional neglect and abandonment, you have this instant reaction of, I've done something wrong. I have, lost something that is important to me with the conflict that you've had with this person. And, it feels really bad in the moment, and that was part of what I was going through when I started just working out again, and working out again kind of rebuilt my brain and rebuilt those that kind of rebuilt my brain, and I was able to look at things in a healthy perspective and realize that the things that I felt were so bad at the time were honestly just pointing me to a better version of myself, you know? And through that conflict with that friendship, I realized that I have so many other people in my life that are beautiful people that have stuck with me through the hardest times. And when people leave your life when things are going wrong, that just shows you that they're not your real friends, you know? It's nothing to do with you, you know, because everyone's going to go through dark times. We're all human, we're all flawed, you know? And if you put that blame on yourself that, you know, you feel like, you know, because of that bad time they left you, trust me, it's not a problem with you. It's a problem with them, because they couldn't see how beautiful your soul was and how what you were going through was because of a dark time and a storm that was just blowing through your life. For me, I had a lot of mental health issues at that time. You know, I was struggling to get my feet under me from having a huge storm that washed away pretty much everything that I thought I was, you know? And, you know, before this time in my life where I was really struggling with my mental health, you know, I had 3 visions and kind of like a dream, you know? And one of the visions I had was a fire that burned everything away, and it was just completely decimated to ashes, you know? And out of those ashes grew new life, you know? And, you know, I had no idea at that point that I was walking into the fire that would be the next season of my life, where everything I felt that was my identity was taken away from me and burned completely down to the ground. And anyone who struggled with mental health or depression or anxiety or a disorder, a mood disorder, they understand what I'm saying is that sometimes you lose yourself in the disorder that you have, and there's no way out, you know, until you go through, you know? And obviously getting on the right medications, getting the right professional help, all of those things help. Indeed, they do. But there's also something to say with the fact that there are times in your life, whether it's a great loss, whether you're grieving the loss of someone, whether you're going through a depression, whether whatever it is, there's times where you feel the fire of life sweep through your life and burn everything down to the ground. And in that moment, you feel so bad and so helpless, and that you'll never be who you once were. And you know what? It's true. You will never be who you once were. That the old you has completely died, has completely vanished, has completely passed away. And that is when you have the opportunity to create a new version of yourself, someone that has weathered the storm, someone that has weathered the fire. You have this opportunity to build a whole new you. And when I realized, you know, this is something, you know, I'm Native American. I don't know if I've mentioned that in my videos before, but, you know, historically, Native American people would set fires to land that was depleted of resources in order to create new growth. And as new growth came up, you know, they were able to recycle the soil and able to make, you know, a nutrient dense soil out of the ashes, you know, because it was a part of the ecosystem that when fires came through, it created an opportunity for new life. And they knew that, you know, they were in touch with the land in that way. And so, you know, for me, that was exactly what happened in my life. And in the moment, I felt so bad. I felt like I would never be myself. I felt like I would never be back on my feet again. So many people were walking out of my life because they saw me just going through a hard time, and there was some people that tried to help, but most everyone was walking out of my life except for the people that were the closest to me, and that who truly knew who I was for so many years, from a young person, like my sister and my husband. They were the only ones that really stuck it out with me and really carried me through those dark times. Yes, I had friends as well, but I also had relationships that were walking out on me because I was going through a hard time. And and now today I can tell you that through going through that fire, I am so much stronger than I have ever been. I'm happier than I've ever been. I'm wiser than I've ever been. And I have so much more love to give the universe, to give my kids, to give my family, to give my husband, to give my sister, to give my friends. I have so much more love to offer the world because through my dark time, I began healing myself. And if you had told me during that dark time that this would be my life now, I would have laughed at you, because in my mind, I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I couldn't see that, but what taught me how to keep a positive perspective, even in the face of adversity, my husband would always tell me, I see you in a better place. I see your life and you're headed in a better place, and you will get this together. You will figure out this problem. You will get to a better place. So sometimes we need those people, that close inner circle, and I had, my strong brothers at the time too, that were always helping me, process through some of the darker times that I was going through, and so, they were my foundation and my stronghold to tell me, you can do this. You can be better than you were. You can rebuild yourself. You can be in a better place than you were last year, and it took years. I'm telling you, you cannot put yourself on a timeline. Nothing in this life is on a timeline. We will evolve and we will change. Yes. But nothing is on a set timeline, When I'm praying to the universe for certain things, you know what I mean? It's been years before they've manifested in reality, And through those years, I was facing adversity that was ultimately making me stronger, ultimately making me wiser, ultimately making me, into the person that I am today, which can handle adversity, which can handle hardship, which is just purely in a happier place, So that's an example for myself with my mental health where, I thought I was at rock bottom, and maybe I was, but through the help of my support system, my brothers, my sister, my husband, through the help of my core inner circle, I was able to grab on to something through, and for me, a lot of that was working out, I was able to grab onto the rope of love and of, hard work and, in getting those serotonin boosts and those dopamine and repairing my DNA and repairing my brain. I was able to grab onto that rope that was dangling down that cave, and every day pull myself up. Every day, every moment, pull myself up. It was hard. It was not easy, and it did not happen overnight. It took a long time for me to get to where I am today, but I gotta tell you, it's worth it. And I'm not who I was before. I'm actually better. I'm actually wiser. I'm actually stronger. I'm actually a better version of me, So when you go through loss, when you go through depression, when you go through dark times, there is always a silver lining. You might not see it in that moment, but there is always a light at the end of the tunnel. And that's why it's so important, if you can, to keep a positive mindset. And that's something that I've learned even today as I face hardships or challenges or just things that pop up in my life that feel bad at the time. I remember those times where I felt bad and where I felt like I would never be where I am today. And that all goes into me choosing a positive mindset in the face of adversity, because I know that sometimes bad things happen for good things and better things to fall into place. And around that time, I became a mother. And becoming a mother was, I wasn't necessarily ready at that time, but this is something about the universe. They will give you not necessarily what you want, but they'll give you what you need. And I didn't realize how these little babies that came into my life, I'm a stepmom. I didn't realize how these little babies that came into my life would ultimately change everything that I saw about the world and about myself and about unconditional love. They changed my life in the most beautiful way, and they continue to change my life. And they are like eyes and perspectives of their world that just changes my perspective of my world, and I wasn't necessarily ready at the time, but I grew into it, so sometimes life will throw you things, that in the moment feel like, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but you grow into it, you grow. And as you grow into it, you realize that what the life threw at you was the biggest blessing that you've ever experienced, as, coming from a childhood that, was trauma-based, and coming from a childhood where unconditional love was not what was going on in our home, it was jump through these hoops in order to get love. It was perform in order to get love. It was become what they want you to become, not being yourself, in order to get love. And that was so harmful to my psyche and to understanding how to give and receive love. If you're never taught how to give and receive love, you might never know, and you see a lot of people in these broken relationships that are mimicking the abuse that they experienced as a child, and it's not even registering in their mind that they're attracted to these types of people because of the abuse that they experienced. And before I met my husband, I was having these relationships that were abusive, and I was attracted to these people because of the hurt and because of the the unhealed trauma inside of me. It was when you're taught what love is, that love for me was harassment, love for me was punishment, love for me was all these negative things, and that as they were traumatizing me, they would say, well, I'm only doing this because I love you, and that was very damaging to me as a person, and I struggled with that, because when I got into a relationship, it was the same cycle. I'm harassing you, I'm abusing you, I'm punishing you because I love you, and that's what was taught to me. This is love. So when I got with my husband, I had to relearn everything that I had grown up to believe was love. He taught me what love truly was, that love is unconditional, that love is loving someone through their flaws, through their humanness. I even made a song called Am I Too Human for You, because I was in these relationships relationships that were not allowing me to just be myself, you know? And when I got with my husband, the thing that he always allowed me to do was just to be myself, to be the best version of me, you know? And he loved me through all my hard times, and I loved him through his humanness. Even everybody has flaws. Everybody has things that they need to work on, and that's okay. When you get in a relationship, you're going to work on all of that together. You're going to learn how to communicate better. And when my babies came into my life, you know, I saw that love was the only thing I wanted to give them, you know? I wanted to give that unconditional love. I wanted to show them the love that was never shown to me, and to only have happy things for them to remember me by, to make memories and to make moments of love and of happiness, and, you know, to see smiles on their faces when they talk to me, when they interact with me, you know? And that was all something I learned on the go. You know, before I had my babies, you know, I had, my first baby was my dog, you know, and it was the first dog that I ever had. You know, I had never had a dog before, you know, and I'm telling you, the universe was telling me, you need to go to the rescue shelter. There is someone that wants to meet you. And it was very clear to me. You know, I'm very spiritual. I'm very in tune with signs. And all the signs were pointing that I needed to go find this dog that, you know, was a part of my journey, that was supposed to be a part of my journey, you know? And so I went to the rescue shelter and I picked up this puppy. I had never had a dog in my life. I had never trained a dog in my life. And I told my puppy when I first got them, you know, I told her, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, you know, we're just going to have to learn this together. You know, I've never had a dog before, you know, so we're just going to have to figure this out one by one, you know. And she also taught me unconditional love, because dogs will love you no matter what, you know. They're the sweetest animals on the planet, you know. They're, you know, companions to human in ways that we don't even fully understand the relationship between dogs and humans, but it is so healing. It is people who have dogs have less stress in their life, you know, they sleep better, you know, they have, you know, better mental health, you know, and I didn't understand that she was going to be a key part of protecting me through my journey, and she was going to be there through all my dark times and all my hardships. And once again, the universe will give you what you need, not necessarily what you want, but what you need. And even though I didn't have really any experience, I knew that the universe was telling me to get her, and that was exactly what I needed in my healing journey. And she prepared me as I showed unconditional love to her, and you know, treated her the right way and in a respectful way, you know, still training her, but never being harsh, never being aggressive. You know, she taught me that unconditional love, you know, and we had that love bond together. And then when I had my babies, you know what I mean, there was also that unconditional love that just continued to flow through. And so once again, going back to that, the universe will give you not necessarily what you want, but what you need. And you always have the opportunity to grow into that blessing. And as you grow into that blessing, you'll realize that that was exactly what you needed in your life. So moving on to another thing that happened to me that felt like it was bad in the moment, but ultimately led to a bigger blessing. And this is kind of just a mundane example. This isn't necessarily life or death or life changing or anything like that, but this is just something to keep in mind that, you know, things will happen in your life that feel bad in the moment, but ultimately there's always a silver lining, right? So for this one, it's, you know, a little personal. So I went to the dermatologist for just a routine check, just a routine skin check. And they decided to take 2 skin biopsies. Now, I had never had a skin biopsy before, and it really threw me for a loop, you know? It was a little painful. They cut a little deeper than I thought they were going to. Once again, I had never had a skin biopsy, so mentally it just, I was like, you guys are taking my skin. Like, this is just too much, Mentally, I was just kind of like, and it was right at the last month of summer. So I was trying to be in the pool. I was trying to enjoy, life in the water, and I was robbed of that last month of summer because of my skin biopsy. I couldn't even get in a pool, or even now to this day, I still can't get in a river and a lake until it fully heals, because of bacteria. So my plans got ruined for the summer, and I was thinking, especially with my working out, I had to take a step back and let it heal before I was able to work out again. And I honestly was just so upset, that there was also that worry of, possibly coming back with, some type of cancer. Like, my dad had basal cell carcinoma. And so I thought, maybe it's going to come back, cancerous. So that was another worry at the back of my head. I can't say that that was the biggest worry. I was honestly a little bit just upset that I couldn't be in the sun and in the pool. But there was also a worry of like, oh my God, this could be cancer. And I would have to go through all of these steps, right? So anyway, it took me some time. I had to take some time off working out. And about a week later, I went and checked back in with my dermatologist, and they told me that everything came back normal. No cancer, nothing bad. It was just abnormal looking, but it wasn't anything to worry about. And I didn't have anything to worry about, but just get checked every year, So that was a huge relief, So the bad thing of getting my skin removed and having to deal with all of that, wound cleaning and healing and all of that and the not being able to work out and all of the bad things ultimately led to a good thing of knowing that I'm cancer free and knowing that I don't have to worry about anything and that I'm cleared by my doctor. So that was one positive thing. The second positive thing was I took a month off of my previous CrossFit gym. So I was going to LA Fitness, 4 or 5 times a week. Once I got back on my feet after it healed for a week or two, I was able to go and do, cardio and weightlifting, just using the machines. I took a break from Olympic weightlifting, which is with the barbell, and just decided to kind of do my own workouts at the gym. My husband decided to join me because he was also trying to lose weight. So we both went to LA Fitness together and started working out together. Now, before that, I was going to CrossFit, he was going to LA Fitness, and we weren't necessarily working out together all the time. So this was new for us to always work out together. So we just showed up at the gym together every day, and we worked out together, and it was, it was just bonding with your partner. When you work out together, it's just fun, you get to have someone that pushes you, I was doing some elliptical workouts, some high cardio workouts, and some weightlifting workouts, and in about a month in, I realized that I had actually lost weight. I wasn't planning on that. I thought for a fact that if I take off a month of CrossFit, I'm going to put on the pounds, and that was another fear-based mentality thing that was going on in my mind. Then I realized just going to the month of LA Fitness, as long as I am working out consistently, no matter what workout I'm doing, I'm gonna lose weight, and maybe I lost maybe a little bit of muscle mass, but when I came back to CrossFit, I was still lifting pretty heavy. And I realized that, the 6 years that I've spent doing CrossFit are not just gonna disappear in 1 month, maybe in a year of not working out, but not in just 1 month. I was so afraid that, I was gonna lose everything that I gained, and so all of these fear-based mentalities were going in, and they were causing, stress of just not knowing how things were going to work out, and sometimes when you don't see the end, you're not sure how to go about, I just wasn't sure how things were going to work out, right? So anyway, as we're working out together, and as I take a break from my CrossFit gym, I start to realize that before, I was very tied to that gym. I thought that gym was the best thing that had happened to me. Even though I had some conflict with the owner of that gym, and conflict that was mainly coming from her. And she also was having conflict with other people at the gym that were causing people to leave the gym. But, I just thought she has an eccentric personality, she's going to bump heads with people, but overall she's a good coach and I'll just stick it out, Well, after having a month off and then coming back to CrossFit, I realized this is not the environment that I really want to be in. This is the environment that I thought was good. Once again, holding on to that thing that's good because you don't know if there's going to be something better on the other side. And I realized even though there was a couple people there that I truly enjoyed interacting with and I truly liked seeing every day, I realized that overall the environment that the owner had created was very much a toxic environment, and there was very much a mixing of personal life with business that was just not professional and not healthy. And I realized once again with the thing of going back to conflict in friendships and relationships, in the moment it can feel bad, like maybe you did something wrong, but when you look back at a perspective, you realize that person was actually in the wrong and you were in the right. And so once I kind of took a step back and had that month off and then came back to the gym, I had a whole new perspective of how this particular person was causing toxicity in the gym and was causing all this conflict with other people who were loyal customers, just like myself, and people were just leaving the gym in waves. And I thought to myself, am I going to just stick it out until the doors close, or am I going to, move on to a better place and just check out some more gyms in the area, And so I checked out some gyms in the area, found an amazing gym that I'm at today that's a CrossFit affiliated gym that has better coaches, better just owners that are just sweet and understanding and just really good personalities. The coaches are very attentive and very professional. There's not a mixing of personal and business going on with the staff there. Everyone is very professional and works in a professional way. And I just felt welcomed in, and that everyone was just super nice and happy to see me. And now when I go into that gym, I just feel a better energy that is calming for me. It's not, high intention with other people, it's a welcoming energy. And the positive side that actually happened that was even more positive that I wasn't expecting was that my husband, after 6 years of me trying to get him to join CrossFit with me, he joined with me at this new gym, and we both decided to work out together. Now, because we've been working out together the past month at LA Fitness, it was just a natural progression for us to start working out at CrossFit together. So that was really amazing to see how me holding on to something that I thought was good, even though it was causing a lot of conflict, even though it was causing a lot of toxicity, you know what I mean? I was hanging on to it because I didn't know that something was better on the other side. And when I let go of that and tried something new, I realized that this is such a better option for me. This is such a better, a better environment for me, and now my husband is with me, and that's been my dream for like 6 years, to have my husband working out with me and to enjoy that experience together, to get fit together, to lose weight together and do things together, and that's such a bonding thing that you can do with your partner. And I had always idolized couples that worked out together and thought, I wish that was me and my husband, and we're finally in that space, and if you'd told me that 2 years ago that he would actually have joined the gym with me and we would be doing CrossFit together, I would have probably laughed at you, because I knew that he had said no so many times before. But letting go of that old gym and those old toxic, conflicting people and toxic people, I was able to find a new gym that now me and my husband can truly enjoy and just have a better environment. It's like the gym, is like, at the end of the workout, they tell everybody, it's not over until you fist pump someone, good job. I didn't realize at my old gym how people were just very cliquey and kind of mean to each other, especially the coaches to other people. There was a lot of disrespect that was going on with the individuals there and with the just the coaches, the owner who was also coaching, but the owner herself, was just disrespecting people, and people were leaving because of that. And I thought, for a while, it's just because she has an eccentric personality and I was trying to deal. But when she had that disrespectful attitude with me, that was when I called it quits and was like, okay, I'm leaving the gym and I'm going to find something better. And it turns out that there was a better gym just waiting around the corner for me, And so these things that, I thought the skin biopsy was so bad, it was ripping me away from the summer, but it actually turns out that I don't have cancer, which is huge, and that everything came back normal. These are the good things. And that now, me and my husband work out together, and that he also joined CrossFit with me. So all of these things, it's kind of like the domino effect, one thing kicks off a series of events that eventually lead you to a better place in life, and unless you follow that path, you're not going to understand that that path is eventually circling back around to something that is better for you than what you had before. And if you hang on so tight to things that are just good but not great, you'll never know what's great beyond what you're holding on to. You'll never check out the options and see if there's a better option for you. So everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that. And it's played out so many times in my life. The minute that I think something bad is happening, over time, I look back and see how that set me up. For it was like an alley-oop for a slam dunk, and my life just got so much better, and so, yeah, it's just so important to keep a positive mindset when you're facing adversity, because if you spiral out at any type of challenge and any type of adversity, and it's okay to feel human feelings. It's okay to feel sadness, anxiety, regret, confusion, but ultimately come to the other side and look from a perspective over time and look back on those events and see how when you're a good person, when you truly put good energy into the world, if you're hanging on to something that's just good, you have to let that go in order for great things to happen. Good is the enemy of great, and it's just played out like that so many times in my life that now, adversity and challenge, doesn't necessarily faze me in the moment, I just have to trust, that bigger and better things are on the horizon for me. And when you truly believe that for yourself, you will manifest that reality in your life of bigger and better things, and so, yeah, storms are going to come, adversity is going to come, challenge is going to come. And the way you approach that, your mindset, when you approach that, is going to change everything. I've said this to friends, I've said this to family, I've said this to myself. If you can't change, if you can't control the actual circumstance, then change your perspective on it, because if you change your perspective on something bad that's happening, you will see a silver lining, you will see a light at the end of the tunnel, a growth out of the ashes, a good thing that's happening over a seemingly bad experience. So yeah, I hope that, something from this video resonated with you guys. And if you have any similar experiences, feel free to comment below. And I will be back with more health and wellness and lifestyle tips and advice. And, it's just so good to remember that having a positive mindset can change everything in your life. And, you see this all the time, with people who have disabilities or people who have, even, disorders of any kind or diseases of any kind, that don't let that define them, but continue to reach new heights and new achievements, and, continue to reach for bigger dreams and bigger goals. What happens to you doesn't have to define you. The bad things don't have to define you. You're the only one who can truly define you, and, just a quick example of this, because I think it's so amazing and it's so incredible. I follow CrossFit Games, which is like CrossFit competitions, and they have what they call an adaptive CrossFit league, which is people with disabilities. And I'm telling you, they're lifting crazy amounts of weights. They're rope climbing with one arm, they're in wheelchairs carrying heavy bags and working out even with their disability. And that's just such a thing to show us that mindset is everything. Bad things happening to you doesn't have to end your story. You can create beauty, and you can create lemonade out of lemons. And that's just to show how insanely resilient the human spirit is that it does not matter how many bad things happen to you. If you know that there's a better thing on the other side, if you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how many times you can't see it, no matter how many dark times you go through the clouds that cover the sun, when you know deep down in your soul that you will get to a better place in life and that you're not going to let those bad things define you, that's when you start to see miraculous miracles happening in your life, and you achieve things that you never thought you would achieve. And you get to a better place in life that you never thought was possible for you. So anyway, I hope my story resonated with you guys, and thanks so much for watching.